On behalf of the Canby Area Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to welcome you here today. And I think it's great that we get the opportunity to repeat this type of occasion from last year. It's super. And I guess what I'll do right now is introduce our speaker for this afternoon, and that's Dr. Olson. Dr. Olson.
Thank you very much. I've got a 50-minute speech here, and after that, then we'll get down to business. Well, I'll tell you, this has all been big top secret as to what we were going to do. In fact, it was such a secret that only God and I knew what was going to happen. And I got so nervous about all this that now only God knows. But we'll try the best we can here to go on with this. I didn't sleep very good the last several weeks. Had some terrible nightmares. One of them was awful. And if I get enough time, I don't want to go into it now, but if the program gets kind of short here, I'll tell you about the dream I had. I'm still kind of scared. Did I wrestle? I wasn't saying much up the turn either. That's probably why we didn't have as good a luck. I didn't give them all the advice I probably should have. But I'll tell you, these fellows sit out here and they wrestle pretty hard and really go all they got. And but I think they don't understand what goes on in the stands. I notice when they're out there, they really aren't paying enough attention to what's going on out there. And this kind of bothers me. I think that Family Fellowship understands this. I'm going to tell you. I don't know if third pull is out there, but we spend about half the whole match trying to keep that guy straight. He's always called up. And Verge Cochran, a lot of us have to grab him to keep him from harming the referees. He really gets wound up there. And, your former coach, Jerry Jingles, we have to keep an eye on him to keep him from cheating the other team on that scoreboard. And I don't know, it's really gets to be a problem. And in fact, for myself, it probably almost created a breakup in our family because one time my referee was out here and he wasn't really doing it right, how it happens. And so I was trying to straighten the referee out. My wife left, and I didn't know she was ever going to come back. But so you guys realize that we really have a lot to contend with up there in the stands. It's probably a lot harder job than what you have out there. Well, enough of that sort of thing. I think probably we better get on here with the program. And I want to introduce the parents of these fellows first. So let's just start right out here at 98 pounds, and let's get Bob and Marianne Merritt to stand up right here. And at 105, Mr. Don, I guess he's still Mr. and Evelyn Reese. Right here. Ken used to be wider than he was tall. But okay, now we got the Grable, Don and Nora Grable. And Jay Grable, is he still here? Yeah, he had a tough job. He had to take over when he had some injuries here, and thank goodness he's still around. Glad to see you, Jay. And 119 pounds, Obian Jones-Trosky. And one black and one white. And we got 126 pounds here. We've got George and Wayne Burlingame. 138, Dave and Connie Burkus. There we go, right there. And Dan, he's 32. What? He's 38 now, though. He never made 38. And 108, 38 pounds, Jerome and Mary Christensen. There you go. And 145, we got Brad Lueders. Well, wait a minute. He isn't father yet. We got Paul Lueders. Where's Paul? You know he's here. There he is. And 155, Alan Bredeson. You hear him? And 167 pounds, Dan and Marion House. There you are. I know Dave must have hurt his legs. I can't stand up very well. And let's see, we've got Dave and Arlene Lueders, 185. And then the heavyweights, Jane and Leonard Reeds. And then if I can find our subs, we got one here, Paul Howey, Lois, and are they here? And we're missing one. Who am I missing? Dale Jellin, there we go. Gene and Doreen Jellin, are they here? Now we got them all. Now we go down to the manager. I tell you, this guy, I've been finding out more about him all the time. That's where it stopped right here. Back in 7th grade, he probably had the best record of anybody. He was 15 and 0. 7th grade. He got pinned 15 times. So he did all right. He's decided he's going to change and be the manager. He's done a really good job. He's been manager since the 8th grade. He's been with it, and he's a senior, and I know the rest of the team really count on him, and it's going to be tough to lose him because now he's becoming the manager. But his parents, Don and Joan Maynard, are they here? Now we get down to the better part here, at least down to the better looking part here. I'm going to introduce the cheerleaders next. First we have Mary Bredeson. And Adeline, you still around? And then the next part, I don't know, I just thought I knew genetics real well. I thought I understood about inheritance and genetics and stuff, but I'll let you people be the judge, but I don't quite understand this. Because when I look at these very beautiful looking girls here, and I look at their fathers, I don't know. But anyway, Norbert and Phyllis Delorier, are they? And Russ and let's see, Marjorie Matthews. I don't quite figure that out. But, and then there's Cliff and Marilyn Hanson. And then here's Sue down there. And then lastly, Dolores and Floyd Howden and Debbie. Okay, now I hope I haven't missed anybody. Actually, I hope I have. Next thing on the program is we want to get something heard from captains. And the kids tell me that, there's two Todds on the team. Leave it to kids to try to figure out how to keep them from getting confused. And so, when they holler Todd, they get two people coming, they want that. So they came across they called this other one that was funny, Romeo. And I don't know how they came across that. He'll have to tell you about that himself. But anyway, I don't know. They always say that love is blind. And, maybe, but I'll tell you one thing, marriage is an eye-opener. So let's get two captains up here, Jeff Lueders and they got Brad Burlingame here. They're down at the school, they're down at the state tournament, they had Jerry Burlingame out there. So I'm not as mixed up as they are. So let's get Romeo and Jeff Lueders.
I'd like to thank everybody for showing up today and for supporting us through the whole season. Thank the cheerleaders and the rest of the team for keeping us going all the way. It's been a fun year, and I hope good luck next year.
Save it for me.
I think it would be better if we turned out the lights. Okay. Well, I don't know, it's been a lot of fun for me too. I see a lot of these kids, and some of them, you see them quite a bit sometimes. They're in and out of the office. And I like this better. Anyway, they're in and out of the office, and I don't know, I'm going to miss them, especially David Verhelst. It seems like Dave is in there a lot. Good business. And one time he really surprised me, though. When I came in, he was worried about his father. I remember seeing Dan over there all the time, running around with his cowboy hat, giving him all the advice, he was kind of worried about him. And he told me, he says, I think he's getting taller. So, they always told us in medical school, don't ever laugh at anybody, and I noticed you had a hard time laughing there too. But that's what I did. So I kind of tried to pin him down and said, well, Dave, what makes you think he's getting taller? Why do you think that? He said, well, he's got to be because his head's starting to grow up through his hair. Anyway, that's the way it goes. But they said probably the slickest kid on the team was Todd Merritt. He was a slickie. So why? Is he pretty good at pinning people? And I said, no. I said, you should find out when you go in the grocery store, and he's working down there. And he said, he can con anybody on anything. How's that? What do you mean? Kids are saying, well. So one day, somebody was in there buying some eggs, and I said they're kind of small. And they're complaining. Todd says, well, he said the farmer that brought him in was in a hurry this morning. He didn't leave them in the nest long enough. Well, say it's been a lot of fun having to deal with these fellows. I know your brother there, One Arm Joe. Well, I hate to talk about this, but the referees really taught me something, and we got a new medical discovery. The referees told me a new way of dislocating a shoulder that I didn't know existed before. And we won't get into that, but I had Joe out there in the locker room, remember, and we were trying to get the thing put back in position again. Joe didn't want to leave the match. He wanted to stay here and watch. Finally, I said, Joe, we're going to have to go up to the hospital because we got to put you out to reduce that. You got too much muscle. We just can't put it back in. So I took Joe up to the hospital. But he said, on the way up there, he said, there's one thing I want to know. He said, are you going to put me to sleep? He said, yeah. You want to get back to me now? So he said, how long will it be before I know anything? And I said, Joe, don't you think you're asking a lot of that anesthetic? He came around, and it's all right. So we're glad that he's feeling better. And let's see. We got more to go on here. I guess I got time to tell you about that terrible dream I had. It wasn't bad at all. I dreamt I had died. And this thing was really on my mind. So when I got to St. Peter's gates up there, ready to go in, and here walks Steve Lueders coming right by me. He has this, well, I don't like to say it too much, but he had this very unattractive looking woman on his arm. I didn't think that was fair because I didn't think Steve was that bad a looking guy. So anyway, I said, St. Peter, that isn't right. I said, why? Well, when Steve was back on Earth, there's a few things that he didn't do that was really nice, So he's paying a few penance for his sins. Well, okay. Well, it wasn't too much. Later, here comes Brad, who's right behind him. He has a very ugly looking woman on his arm. In fact, she was so bad looking that all you'd have to do is paste her picture opposite the word ugly in the dictionary. Yeah, I was that bad. Opposite the word ugly in the dictionary, and it would describe her. I said, why? Well, same thing, Brad was usually a nice guy, but there's a few things that he did back there on Earth that just weren't really nice. And so he's paying for his sins. Well, I thought, gee, that's kind of a rough treatment for these guys. Wasn't too much later, but here comes Loren Hacker. Who does he have on his arm? Bo Derek. I said, oh. Now I know something. I must not be in the right place. It says, that can't be. Oh yeah, St. Peter said, Bo Derek pulled a few fancy things in her day too. Maybe with that, Loren, why don't you come up here and say a few things?
I don't know the bad jokes about doctors, so I don't know. We've had a really good year this year. It all comes from a lot of hard work, a lot of pain, intense physical pain in some cases, a lot of sweat up in that balcony up there. These guys know what that's all about. Had a lot of support this year from a lot of people. The parents in particular are just great. They are the backbone of the Canby Wrestling team. The Canby Wrestling is going to by the parents. And when we put parents supporting us, it would be very difficult to have a good wrestling team. Also, wives are really important, mainly my wife Karen, supporting me, understanding I'm kind of hard to live with some nights when I'm kind of grouchy. Bobby Bredeson gives Bill a lot of support, and Canby Wrestling fans give everybody a lot of support. So I thank you for your support this year. You've been just great.
I better do it alone this time. Yeah, you know, talking about parents, you know, that reminds me, remember Dan Burkus bragged about his parents. He was really proud of them. He said, you know, his mother and dad are really great. He says, my mother can drive his car from the back seat. And he says, not only that, he says, my dad can run the kitchen from the dining room table. Anyway, so that tournament was really kind of tough on a lot of people. Theirs came pretty close. A few breaks here and there, and they would have won. But just before the tournament started, you know, I was in line and ready to walk in, and looking around, and saw various fans coming in. Glad to see various people from the cities that are from Canby there. And who walks up next to me is Burke. And then all of a sudden he jumps in way behind me, line, tickets. I said, hey Burke, I said, come on up here. No, he says, don't you know, he says, wherever you go, I come in way behind you. I don't know what he meant by that. But anyway, we were down, got down by the mats down there, and Bill Bredeson was just white as a ghost. I said, what's the matter, Bill? I thought he looked pretty worried. I said, Bill, what's the matter? You got some trouble? You know, Bill, how wordy he is, how much he can talk. Anyway, he said, yeah, I got financial problems. Trouble with money. I said, Bill, I can take care of that for you. So I guess they missed that night. I'll say that over again. Financial problems. I could take care of this financial problem.
I don't get it.
Okay, Bill, you got anything that you'd like to say about the tournaments?
Just like Loren said, we're very pleased to see you all here. We've had a good tournament, I think, in a way. We've had a good year. And it's these 18 kids, plus the kids, all the kids that are on the wrestling team, because it takes all of us up there. And these are the best of the 18. These are the 18 best that come out of it. But it takes a whole bunch up there. It takes support from you as a community. It takes support from the wives, an awful lot of them, some nights, some days. And it takes an awful lot of support from the parents, like I said. We really appreciate that. And if you believe this or not, this is the quietest I've seen this bunch behind me for the whole vacation. Thanks again for everything. We really appreciate the support.
Well, I guess the program wouldn't be complete without a few words from the Athletic Director. And here he is. Here we go, find him. I guess he's down testing the lunch. But anyway, you know, I'm going to tell you about this fellow a bit. He's not, anyway, my kids came home from school one day, I can't remember, several years ago. This actually happened. Something funny, you know, it happened, to me it seemed funny. So I told my kids, I said, well, did you tell, yes, Mr. Saum, so-and-so, made a wisecrack out of it. He said, Dad, are you kidding me? He said, that guy's a man of steel. He said, you don't say stuff like that to him. And I didn't know what he meant, but if you take a look at him, and you take a look at his right hand, I'll tell you, I found out. He was out the other day. He had a chainsaw. Actually, he had a chainsaw. He was cutting some wood. And the chainsaw slipped and it hit his hand. You know what happened? He broke the chainsaw. Now, this is the truth. And I wanted to come up here and tell us all about how this happened.
Doc is long-winded, and he's also a smart aleck. In the first place, thought I was going to escape this, and I was hiding outside. I think sometimes we lose sight of the things that really happen in our quest to be number one. And maybe I should do something to set the record straight. It's never entered my mind that these kids didn't work as hard as those who won the state championship. I've never thought for a minute that they didn't try as hard or work as hard or put as much into it. I'm reasonably sure that the thing that happened to us is that we walked into the Civic Center and the gun was kind of loaded. There were some people there that probably were quite a little bit better than we were. And I think that's a thing that all of us have to look at. We have to accept this. We have to accept what happened to us. We have to come back and try harder the next time. But we certainly shouldn't be taking any time to walk around their head between our shoelaces, because there are 400 and some schools in the state of Minnesota that would just give anything to be where our kids have been the last 4 or 5 days. I know that these kids feel bad because they didn't do better. I'm sure that they're a little self-conscious about it. The thing I would say to all of you is this: do what you can to make them comfortable. Do what you can to make them feel good about being home when they get downstairs. And whatever we do, let's all of us shut up and try to get them out of here, because they've been away from home for 5 days. I'm sure they're tired of the whole thing. And whatever you do when your kids do get home, and I learned this having a couple of kids that participated in the state tournament, when you get them home today, for God's sakes, don't ask them what happened in the third match, or the second match, or the first match, or whatever, because they're so sick and tired of it, they don't want to hear about it for 2 or 3 days, so just let them alone. Thank you so much.
I think those are good words. And I think one other thing, I don't think maybe most of you realize, and that is that there's only been 2 schools in the state of Minnesota that have been down there every year in state tournaments since this tournament team started. It's only been 2 schools, Moorhead and Canby. Those are the only 2. We've had 6 parties. No other schools except Moorhead has been able to do that. I think that is something that we can really be proud of. And sometimes, substitutes are important. We forget that. Sometimes you aren't always on the first team. And I think some of the substitutes, that came in, did a great job. I think Greg over there, he didn't get pinned real good. That was important. And I think another important thing in the Redwood match is that it hadn't been for Paul Howby. If he had lost instead of tied, we wouldn't even be here today. Because one more point would have been a tied score, and Redwood would have won because of tiebreaker. So even subs can be important. And because of that, and the Chamber of Commerce appreciates what you boys have done on your hard work, they've got together these little plaques here, and as I read your name off, Steve is going to hand you out your plaques. So if you come on forward, we'll give you your little award. If I can find this little guy again. Let's see, where's it? Todd Merritt, you want to come up and get your plaque on? Jerry Sakrowski. Mike Sakrowski. And Todd Burlingame. Dan Burgess. Dave Christensen. And Brad Lueders. Larry Bredeson. Dave Rahel. Paul Hoggy. Dale Jellin. Jeff Lueders. Steve Reeds. And Dave Mailer. Okay, now for the cheerleaders, Mary Bredeson. Karen Loren. Doris Matthews. Sue Hansen. Debbie Haugen. And we've got two left. Coaches. Okay. Bill, Bredeson. And last but not least, Bo Derek's friend, Loren Packer. I don't know if I got it mentioned or not, but last year, Karen Kluge for being cheerleader advisor. Karen? She looks so young and like one of the cheerleaders that I just kind of got her lost here in the crowd. Sorry about that, Karen. I think that concludes our program. And Estle says the food is right. And, there's plenty of it, so let's all go down and have a good time. Thanks for coming.